Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Gotham. A great episode, kind of a wild ride episode, which is kind of like, the criminal side of things just going up and down and all over the place. You got Penguin, you got Sophia, you got Riddler, you got Lee, just so much happening in this episode, just the back and forth between, making deals with this person to kill this person who wants this person dead. There's just so much all around. It is a craziness, and I don't know where to start. Obviously, Gordon and Harvey working together, just trying to take down Sophia, but Harvey's like, when it's all said and done, you're going to have to pay for what you've done. So there's that interesting lady, the Scandinavian Skinner, that old lady is like, oh yeah, she used to skin people alive, hence the name. It's like, ugh. Used to be one of Falcone's people, I assume. I mean, she used to be his eyes and ears while he was out of Gotham, but I would assume that just meant like that's because they had a connection in the past. But nevertheless, everything, like you have Victor, and I forgot his name. His name is Wendell, but we haven't seen him in a long time. I forgot the dude's name. But he shows up and he's working with Victor to kind of clean up this mess. All the while you have Ed trying to help Penguin break out. He ended up saving Martine. That was pretty neat. I figured like the one leaving the notes, I was like, it could only be Riddler doing this on behalf of Penguin. Oh, it's so good, dude. And it's just like, when one person gets in one person's hands, it's like, first Penguin goes to Lee, then Harvey and Gordon get him, and then Lee gets away with him, takes him to Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze freezes him, turns him over to Sophia, which Ed went to Grundy for help, but Grundy turned him over to Tabitha and Barbara, but then they turned him over to Sophia, who was trying to get information on where to find Mr. Penn and Penguin. You see what I mean? It's so roundabout craziness. It's this, and this and that, all leading to one. It's so good. You're having like Sophia using the dentist dude to torture Ed, which I also love. Penguin in this episode is literally finding out everyone he trusted, basically stabbed him in the back, was secretly working for Sophia. He finds out Mr. Penn. Secretly, Mr. Penn was actually working for Falcone originally, meant to work with Penguin to keep an eye on Sophia, but then Sophia found out, and then Sophia was like, okay, be my triple agent. So that happened. Also, we found out what was that place he went to, the resort? The way that place is, at first I was like, what is this place? And I'm like, okay. So I can only assume it's people who have a fetish of being treated like a baby, which makes me wonder, is that why he takes the positions that he does? Because it seems like he likes, and because Penguin and a lot of people seem like they humiliate him a lot. So I don't know if it's that or whether that's kind of a separate fetish from what he was. Maybe, obviously just because you like being humiliated doesn't mean, being treated as a baby is probably just something else differently. Maybe it's because of his high stress job as being like the bookkeeper and stuff like that to this criminal enterprise, for going from one criminal to the next stresses him out, and he wants to feel relaxed by casting away all his cares in the world by being a baby. I think that's probably more so. It's like this is a byproduct of his life essentially. So I guess that's how it more so works. But man, just so much went down. It was interesting seeing Mr. Freeze kind of pop up like that too. I haven't seen him in the picture for a little while, but seeing him pop back up again, because it's like, yeah, you promised you were going to help me find a way to kind of fix myself. Didn't happen, and ended up freezing him. Which Penguin was biggest concern about that was like, well, what if I come out like Ed and Frost? Was like, Freeze was like, I don't care. I literally just called him Frost. Freeze was kind of like, I don't care. Froze him. Got his reward, so I'm curious to see where that takes him, that reward money. I would assume maybe at one point in time he does continue his research to find out a way to cure himself, and maybe he never does. And maybe that's why his criminal life always becomes a thing in the future, is because he's always trying to gather enough money to continue his research to cure himself. Willing to hurt or kill anybody that gets in his way. Or maybe it's just eventually he cuts loose and he's just like, you know what? I like being the way I am. I'm just going to be a criminal this way. I don't know. We'll see. But also Penguin finding out that the dentist dude who he wanted to torture Sophia, we remember that. It's like, turns out you work for her. He's like, you work for her too? Of course you do. It's so sad because Penguin's entire organization is like, who didn't work for her? I mean, the sad thing is Penguin's always getting betrayed by people. That's why even he was like, I knew it. Ed's going to betray me. Then finds out, Ed actually didn't betray me. So he went down to the pier and saved him, which I love that line of being like, Yeah, let's never see these peers again. It's like, yeah, I agree. It's like every time someone, I mean, those that's the go-to spot. Like since season one, that's been the go-to spot. I don't know if that's the exact spot. Like it definitely was the spot where like season yes, three ended with Penguin being there with Mr. Freeze and freezing Ed back then. So that was kind of interesting. So I would assume that it has to be the same pier that like popped up at the beginning of the series, where like literally that's the pier you go to drop off bodies. Like it's just like, which is weird. In a, like, I guess in a city of crime, it's okay to have that one spot because the whole city is so corrupt. It's not like anyone's gonna stop you. Because I'm like, it's like you should literally leave cops posted at that spot because there's always something going down there, whether it's like a mob hit type of thing of like, oh yeah, dispose of the body in the water type of thing. So. But this whole situation sets up many different interesting things because we have Oswald and Ed. Even though it's not Ed, it's Riddler, which I guess they're kind of two separate people. So I guess it's a situation of like, oh, let's bygones be bygones. Yes, you have problems with Ed, but that was Ed. I'm Riddler, so it's okay. It's kind of a, so it also means, what about Ed? Is Ed completely gone? Is he still in there? I don't know. But it does seem like they are going to be working together again. And even like Tabitha was kind of worrying about it with Barbara. It's like, yeah, that means, you know, that Penguin's going to be coming after them. So there's always a power struggle in Gotham. So and things just continue to get interesting on that front. And I'm just so interested to see how long that partnership lasts. I mean, because this is the last person that Penguin can trust. Because once again, everyone betrayed him, even Zaz, which makes you wonder, what is Zaz and Wendell going to do now? Because it's like, well, they're kind of out of job. That Sophia situation did not go down the way I thought. I was like, holy shit. Like she shot Gordon up good. And even in the end, she's like, I actually care for you, Gordon. So when it's all said and done, I will forgive you if you beg from my forgiveness. I think on some level, she, in a twisted way, does actually care for Gordon. And it's like, that's super messed up. It's like, I care for you. I care for you enough to not kill you and just let you stay where you are so I can continue to use you and manipulate you to control Gotham in my own way. And it's like, wow. Because in her mind, it's like, why are you not siding with me? I don't get it. Literally, I'm doing the same thing that my dad would do. But I guess, like, in Gordon's mind, it's like, no, like, your dad wouldn't necessarily cross this line even. But to be fair, that's because Gordon's only known an older Falcone who's, like, more wiser, so kind of learned from his mistakes, that he kind of, like, walked away from his entire life and would have stayed, like, away if it hadn't been for Sophia kind of bringing all this kind of to the head again, you know? So, because it is something I haven't really thought about, you know, because you don't have the whole like Court of Owls kind of controlling Gotham from like behind the scenes. Like whoever controls Gotham really has full and other control on them. Not unless there's any other dark secret organization that wants to kind of operate things from the shadows. I mean, who's to say? But it was, now that the Court of Owls like got basically all wiped out last season, I don't think that's really an issue. Well, yeah, because most of them ended up getting killed by the dude that served Ra's al Ghul, you know, so it's that whole situation. But nevertheless, that was just kind of something I was thinking about in this whole power struggle thing. But so it's like you understand, but at the same time, it's like Gordon, I don't know if Gordon would have ever let her dad take control the way he has now, because by the time Gordon kind of came into the picture, like Falcone was already kind of having a power struggle, and like I said, he walked away and everything. So there's that. But like she shot Gordon a few times, and he basically was like, you know what? I'm not going to take the deal. Sophia, go to hell. And she was about to kill him, and then you have Lee shooting her. I was like, oh man, like I was like, most likely she's going to get away from this. She's like, she's like, yeah, it's me. Headshot. I was like, whoa, what? Caught me off guard completely. I was like, holy shit. And then it's like, turns out later when we find out, oh, actually she's not dead. She's just in a coma. It's like, what the fuck? What? Really? I mean, because we know what happened to like Butch, but I mean, to be fair, Butch was dumped in a whole bunch of chemicals after, like, you know, being in his state. So that's one thing, but it's like, she's actually still alive. That's, I don't know. There's so much that can end up doing that, dude. Let's not forget no death is 100% guaranteed until we remove the Lazarus pit from the equation, like Arrow did. It's like, yeah, you can't count any death as permanent until the Lazarus pit's been dealt with, because that's kind of a get out of death free card, essentially. So that could be something that winds up in Sophia's path. But just the fact is that the fact is they went out of the way, but like, oh yeah, she's not dead, she's in a coma. It's like, Yeah, that just means you're setting her up to come back in some shape or form. But it's like, that's crazy, dude. I just wasn't expecting. I thought she was going to get away and kind of continue her rampage, essentially. But it's like, nah, Lee shut that shit down, dude. Holy crap. And on top of that, saved Gordon. Then she proceeded to go back and take care of the Narrows. I was so certain. I was like, oh my God, she's not going to let Samson go. Like, we've already seen Lee's darker side because of the Tetch virus last season. I mean, to be fair, I was about to say, wasn't it last season? Yeah, that was last season. But the whole Tetch virus situation, but it's like, no. Like, that was kind of amplifies the darkness that's already in someone. So I guess you can't really count that because that's amplified darkness. But, Lee's, I don't know, man. I was kind of halfway expecting her to kill him, but it's like, nope, she just broke his hand with that hammer, which like I said, with the Lee situation, it still got me. I'm like, ugh. I had to grab my hand because I was like, that stuff makes me uncomfortable, dude. It's like, that kind of makes your skin crawl type of thing. So Lee's also asserting her dominance as like the one taking control of the Narrows. She might have like a harder like push going forward with the Narrows type of thing. I don't know. We might see that. She might be a little more, kind of might have awoken, like this whole situation with Sophia might have awakened the beast. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where Lee goes forward with this because, like, the only people she had to really worry about was obviously she wanted revenge against Sophia, plus she got it on Samson. So we'll ultimately see where things take us in that department. But you had Gordon being like, you know what, I'm going to confess and everything. And Harvey's like, no, you're not. Because you want to clear your conscience and everything. It's like, no, you live with it every day. You live with that pain and that regret every day. Because it's like, because you don't deserve to just clear your conscience of it. You have to basically keep the GCPD alive and strong with you as its leader. And you continue basically live every day remembering what you did and trying to make Gotham a better place to make up for the mistakes that you've caused, So whether this means Harvey's back fully too or not, I don't know. Harvey didn't really say once he got his badge back whether or not he was going to be sticking around. So that's definitely going to be interesting going forward. I wonder will Gordon keep this position or will he step down at some point in time? I mean, the truth is still out there, so it could still always come back to bite him in the ass in some shape or form, and it could just end up destroying everything. Still quite a bit of room left in this season for things to kind of fall apart like that, so... And another thing in this episode was Selena showing up at Bruce's place. Basically, she wanted money to buy back the thing she stole from that dude's place. Ivy ended up killing. And I love the conversation where he's trying to, about, the last time we saw each other. Selena's like, oh, you're trying to apologize? She's like, don't bother. Because she's like, I know you were a douchebag to me then, and you're just going to be a douchebag to me sooner or later. And you have Bruce kind of smiling like, I missed you too. I'm like, that's so adorable. But they ended up getting it back. But Selena kind of didn't want to, do it herself. She wanted to go to give Bruce to do it. And he was like, so that's why you came to me. She's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just give it back and say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for things to go down the way they did. It's like, well, sometimes that's all you can do, So it's like, because that's literally the same situation as Harvey. Things might not have spiraled out of, like, yes, things would have been hard, but if Harvey had just owned up to what he had done, maybe things would be different. And maybe that's what things are supposed to be with Gordon. I don't know. Like, you kind of feel like maybe this is just a secret that dies, but it's like secrets like this will eventually find their way out. And it's like, should Gordon have confessed from the beginning? Yes, it is about, easing his own consciousness and stuff like that, but I honestly don't know, because like I said, I get the feeling like that will be kind of thrown at him at some point in time, but we'll ultimately see. And I want to see what Selena's going to ultimately do about that. Will she apologize herself, and what that means going forward for her, like, because I don't think, like, in any, like, I don't know comic books. But she never seemed like the murdering type, because that's why her and Batman always had the relationship they did. She's a thief and everything. She's a criminal, but she's never like... She crosses paths with a lot of people who are willing to do that. Obviously, working with like Two-Face and stuff like that, and some like video games and stuff like that. I think her and... Obviously, like, the whole Sirens situation is, like, her, Harley, and Ivy, which obviously in this she has a connection to Ivy, which I guess is, like, very heavily canonical, but those three. I wonder who... well, Joker hasn't been... Well, Jerome has kind of been set up as a Joker, but that's the always saying, like, I don't think... He's labeled as Joker, but I always feel like he's not Joker. I think he's just the precursor to Joker, who eventually inspired Joker. Harley either, but I feel like it's too soon to have Harley anyway, because Harley started off as like a psychiatrist before she became a Harley Quinn, you know, so well, I mean, she was always kind of Harley Quinn because her real name is like Harley Quinzel, so. But nevertheless, you get what I'm trying to say. It's just going to be interesting seeing what Selena decides to do going forward. And final note is the whole situation with Barbara. She was getting those migraines and stuff like that. Initially, I was like, oh, it's a Lazarus Pit's water's wearing off? I was like, no, I can't do that. Because if it was going to wear off on anyone, obviously it would wear off on Alfred first. But it's like, no, it seems like it's something else. And at the end, we see like this lights glowing from her hand. And then she looks up and she sees Raish walking towards her. So it's like, what's that about? Did his like soul? Did he pass on part of his soul to her or something like that? Is he going like what is up with that? Like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do with this whole Ra's al Ghul situation. Like also, where's the rest of the League of Assassins? Like where did they go after Ra's died? Like there've been people here and there, but I doubt every member was taken care of because there's a lot of people just kind of hidden in plain sight during that whole situation earlier this season. So I get the feeling like there probably still some just waiting for his return, like because obviously everyone knows more about this situation than Bruce does. I'm kind of getting the feeling like maybe this whole Ra's al Ghul situation with the League of Assassins, well, League of Shadows, I forgot, it's the League of Shadows in this, but it doesn't matter. It's both names. Both names are right, but nevertheless, I'm kind of getting the feeling like this would probably be something we see kind of continuing in a potential like season 5. It probably won't just stop it at season 4, but ultimately have to wait and see, but. Because I've been saying it the entire time, it's like, no way Raish is going like that. So I'm curious to see, like, is it going to be, like, is Barbara being chosen as the next Raish? So is she taking over that spot? Is that what that's supposed to be? Like, it kind of passing on to her like that? Was that what he did? Is it like, or is it going to be a situation of he's passing his soul onto her body and eventually his soul is going to erode her body and take over? Like, what was once Barbara's soul is now going to be his body now? Will he be living in Barbara's body? Is that what the whole, because like I said, he was training Bruce up to be the next heir. So, you know, maybe in this series, that's how the whole Ra's al Ghul thing happens. The soul of the previous person passes down into the next person with the immortal body. And when it's time to find another suitable host to be, like, it seemed like it was more so like I mean, like all stuff kind of makes it seem like it is just passing it on to the next person to become the Raish. But what if there's more to it? At the very least, what if it's this guy's decision now? I don't want to pass on the mantle. I want to continue being the mantle. So he was prepping Bruce so that he could possess Bruce's body. I mean, that was kind of always my thought process, but maybe that's what this is kind of setting it up to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong, or maybe this is just supposed to be like Barbara's like seeing his ghost and everything. It's like, okay, I got the power, you know, this light is your soul and I can like resurrect you by whatever means, and so you're coming back. Like I said, we would just have to wait and see where all of this takes us into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, love light to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.